centers or hardware stores. That's High Yield Kills All. Get some today.
You bring home your new tree, you plant it, and you wait to watch it grow. And you wait, and you wait, and it takes years. Don't wait. Go see my friends at Columbus Trees in Sunbury. Their big tree sizes start with a nursery stop. You don't need a landscaper to have beautiful trees in your yard. ColumbusTrees.com. Big trees, tiny price.
In the criminal justice system, prosecutors bring the charges, and judges make sure justice is done. Prosecutors have to be tough, and judges have to be fair. And in the Ohio criminal justice system, Megan Shanahan has been both a prosecutor and a judge. Sending hundreds of dangerous criminals to prison, no prosecutor was tougher than Megan Shanahan.
A child rapist was sent to prison today. Before she won the case, prosecutor Megan Shanahan told the jury that they should...
And then, Megan Shanahan became a judge. With more than a dozen years on the bench, Judge Shanahan has presided over some of the most difficult criminal and civil cases in Ohio. You want law and order on the Ohio Supreme Court? Then you want Judge Megan Shanahan, a defender of the Constitution. Shanahan, Judge Megan Shanahan for Ohio Supreme Court.
Paid for by Shanahan for Ohio.
Joe Valentine here for TNT Equipment. And no matter the height or the task, TNT has the scaffold solutions for you. For heavy-duty or high-speed needs, TNT Equipment has a vast array of mast climbing scaffold to increase production and enhance safety. Our qualified staff can install all your scaffold, access way, and trash chute needs. Call TNT Equipment today at 614-882-1549 or check out our website at tntequip.com to see how we can make it happen for you.
TNT Equipment. We make it happen. TNT Equipment.
Trust, faith, and belief. When it comes to custom cabinetry, who can you trust to make sure your project
no matter
is
what
delivered
happens,
on time
I don't want you to
your
let Ed's
exact
voice on the air.
specifications?
Just
For more than 75
mute him.
years,
Find a way to
customers
mute
have put
him.
their trust in the Miller Cabinet Company of Plain City. Designed to finish, Miller Cabinet Company earns
What
your
is your
trust
current temperature,
by
my dear?
inviting you to see each step in the process with your own eyes.
56.
Feeling the quality
Lovely,
with your own
56
hands.
degrees.
You
Beautiful
won't
day.
see an assembly line here. You will see each piece handcrafted with time-tested care and precision. Trust Miller Cabinet Company. Get started now at MillerCabinets.com.
Hey, this is the AI voice of Ronald Reagan. We're computer-generated,
The
but
AI
Republican
voice of
candidate for
Ronald
Judge Todd
Reagan,
Anderson
yeah.
is the real thing. Right, AI Eisenhower?
Right, Gipper. We are robots, so we're not endorsing, but we're sharing facts like this one. Todd Anderson is the Republican choice for judge.
And Republican Todd Anderson is endorsed
Oh my
by
gosh, who
Marion
came up with the idea for this
Fraternal Order
spot?
of Police.
Who said that?
It's me.
That's
Abe
terrible.
Lincoln.
Ron, do we think people will recognize the voice of Lincoln?
Honestly, like they'll recognize Eisenhower?
There you go again, Abe.
Anyway, they will recognize that Republican Todd Anderson has 27
Although that
years
Shanahan
of legal
Law
and
and
court
Order spot is
experience.
awesome.
Republican Todd Anderson even has judicial experience as municipal court acting judge this year.
Republican Todd Anderson
Shanahan.
is the real deal. In fact,
That's
this
a
next
great
part
commercial.
isn't AI, it's really
It's a great
Republican Todd
commercial.
Anderson. Take it away, Todd.
I'm the Republican candidate for judge, and this Republican ad is paid for by friends of Todd Anderson.
At the Original Mattress Factory, we know most people don't love mattress shopping. In fact,
that's not you.
many dread
Is
it.
that you?
And why wouldn't they? Many mattress stores use high-pressure
Hello.
sales
There I
techniques
am.
today-only pricing.
Your
and top
button was
features
off,
that
but your
don't really
thing's all the
offer
way
a
down.
benefit. They
They
offer
make
an
pills for that now.
overwhelming number of
Yeah,
options
yeah.
to confuse things even further.
They
At
make a
OMF,
cream now,
we
too.
do
Ella
things
just
differently.
laughed.
Our showrooms are easy to navigate, and our sales team actually cares. Our goal is
You
to
wanna do the
answer
weather
your
today?
questions, not pressure you into purchasing.
If you want.
OriginalMattress.com.
It's 56
You
currently.
may have diabetes and not even know it.
56?
Get a screening.
56,
Visit
baby, 56.
diabetes.org.
50 cents says
Your
56.
station for news, traffic, and weather in Central Ohio. News Radio 610 WTVN, Columbus. WODC HD2 Asheville, an iHeartRadio
There
station.
isn't one.
From ABC News,
What?
I'm Michelle Franzen. Candidates digging in with less than
Sure.
2 weeks to go before the election. Former President Trump in Michigan last night heads to New York City later today with early voting in the state. That also began today. ABC's Mary Alice Parks has more.
In Texas and then Michigan overnight,
Yeah, Harris
Trump
had,
leaning into
Beyonce
immigration
in
and his
Houston last
hardline
night.
proposals.
Crowd
I will stop the invasion of criminals into our country, and I will bring back the American dream. We're going to bring it back.
I do believe
Trump
there is
making
a
a splash
steamroller
too with
coming
a
on November
3-hour
5th
interview with
that they are not
podcaster
even
Joe
going to
Rogan,
comprehend.
talking about everything from life on Mars
I hope
and
the
mixed
red
martial
wave
arts
that we've been
fighters
waiting on
to pushing
is
his
a
false
tsunami.
claims about election security.
Vice President Kamala Harris campaigning in Michigan today after holding a rally in Houston last night, focusing her message on reproductive rights and getting the endorsement of Beyonce. Texas isn't a battleground state, but Harris says it's ground zero in the fight over abortion access.
You know it ain't right that you may have fewer rights than your mother or your grandmother. You know it is not theoretical. You know it is not political. It is your lived
It's a pretty gun, but this stainless steel is just too heavy to be that small. It should not have that kind
The
of weight.
latest polls showing a dead heat between
magazine.
Harris and Trump. More than
shouldn't be that
36
heavy.
million Americans have already cast ballots in early, in-person, and absentee voting. The White House confirming the U.S. was not involved in Israel's retaliatory strikes for Iran's missile attack earlier this month. But the U.S. was notified by Israel about the operation. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge is in Tel Aviv.
Israel launching an unprecedented aerial bombardment overnight on Iran, with Iranian air defense flashing in the sky over Tehran. The IDF saying the targets included Iranian air defense systems and missile and drone storage and production sites. The Iranian regime downplaying the attack.
ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge, you're listening to ABC News.
The death of a 9-month-old Whitehall girl is being ruled a homicide. An autopsy revealed Araya Williams died last month from a fractured skull caused by blunt force trauma. Whitehall police say there are more charges coming against the girl's mother, 21-year-old Charity Dreyer. Ohio's ban on most abortions is, for now, blocked.
It was last November when Ohio voters passed Issue 1, a statewide constitutional amendment that codified contraception, abortion, and more in the state. Hamilton County Judge Christian Jenkins ruling now that the state constitution, quote, unequivocally protects the right to abortion. His ruling strikes down the so-called heartbeat law that banned abortion in Ohio after cardiac activity in a fetus. The judge's ruling also says that state laws promoting adoption are not affected. I'm Jack Crumley.
4 people, including a young girl, are dead following a mass stabbing in College Hill. SWAT units were called to a home on Springbrook Drive Thursday morning where they faced a standoff for several hours. When the officers entered the home, they found the bodies of 2 adults and an 11-year-old girl. They also found the suspect, 66-year-old Anthony Mathis, suffering from self-inflicted stab wounds. He later died at a local hospital. Charges are pending against 2 youths who were stopped in a stolen car in Cleveland.
Did you say
Authorities say the vehicle had been stolen from the Dayton area. State troopers spotted it Thursday in Medina County and followed it to an area near Cleveland's East 146th Street and Kinsman Road, where the folks at OnStar remotely disabled the engine. The 2 young suspects tried to flee on foot, but were apprehended. I'm Rob Bailey.
The Stoddard Avenue Pumpkin Glow is happening next week. It's the 30th season for the annual event, which started in the Grafton Hill neighborhood in 1984.
Stoddard Hill,
Nearly 1,000
Grafton
pumpkins
Hill,
will be
what
on
is
display
this?
Monday and Tuesday from 6 to 10 p.m. on the Stoddard Avenue Hill behind Annunciation Greek Orthodox Church. There will also
What are
be
we
food
getting,
trucks on
Toledo
site.
News?
I'm Andy Betts.
Your latest news, traffic, and weather.
If you're not informed, then you're out of the loop.
All you have to do is ask.
Play 610 WTVN on iHeartRadio.
This report is sponsored by Arden Communities.
Looking for a new place? Call Arden Communities Home today. Choose from apartment homes, townhomes, condos, and single-family living. Visit ardencommunities.com for details and check out our current move-in specials. Coming home never felt so good.
Get Eco.
Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something. Does it solve a problem? It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
Heating and cooling companies are
Okay,
telling
please
people
don't let me
your
forget
furnace
about
and
going to
AC
the
isn't worth
Stoddard Avenue
fixing. You need to
Pumpkin
replace
Show.
it with a whole new system. You invented a solution
for that? What the hell was
I
that?
invented a way to fix those systems for free.
I'm talking to Ella.
That's a great invention.
Who are you talking
How
to?
does it work? Step 1 is to pay Eco to fix it. I thought you said you'd fix it for free. Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to
56. I told you that
$1,500 when you
already,
get
you
Eco
senile
to
old
replace
bat.
it.
Get Eco.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years? That would mean you got all
It's
those
modern
extra
math.
years
56,
for free.
58, they're the
Paying
same
Eco
thing.
to fix your furnace is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco. Get Eco.
Yep.
Get Eco.
Eco plumbers,
Here we
electricians,
go.
and HVAC technicians. Get Eco. Gotcha.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target.
Greetings, salutations, welcome to On Target from LEPD Firearms and Range, 999 Bethel Road. If you are not in the live audience, perhaps you're listening over the airways, perhaps you are watching on Facebook or YouTube or wherever the heck else
you're not here.
Available. Or what?
Or you're not here.
Who's not here? I'm here. You're here.
The people you're talking to.
We are here. And on the phone right now is JC. JC, you are here, aren't you? I don't know. JC may not be here.
JC's not here today.
Well, even when JC's here, sometimes he's not here. Yeah, I know.
There he is.
There you are.
There we go. Hi, guys.
All right.
How you
So
doing, JC?
at a distance, nonetheless, with us this afternoon. And what do we got? 9 days left?
Yes.
9 days until Election Day, which, as far as I'm concerned, still should be a national holiday, so nobody has any excuses. I'm excited. As crazy as this sounds, I'm excited. Maybe that's why I see the world the way I see it today. This has been like a perfect morning for me.
Yes. I bet you had a beautiful breakfast this
Beautiful breakfast.
Yes.
Beautiful. All that cholesterol just said, "Good morning, my brother." I said, "Hello, cholesterol." It's all over it. It's beautiful. Drove in on Riverside Drive. I don't know what's going on down at the river, but right around Riverside and Fishinger, there's a ton of people.
That's probably the regatta they have every year. The different colleges come down and have their competition. Yeah,
it was a beautiful atmosphere.
It's a big deal.
Then I get up here to LEPD. I walk in and boom, there you are. Nothing more beautiful than the sight of you on a Saturday.
There you go.
And
what more could you ask for?
And then JC's voice popping through my head. This is just perfect.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely perfect.
Because we don't have Eric here.
That could do it too. As we are just these 9 days away from Election Day, so very, very much going on. This is a make or break election as far as I'm concerned. The campaign signs out there say "Save America." I truly, in my heart, I truly believe that is our mission. We have this opportunity, and if we do not take this opportunity to go the correct direction, the right direction, the traditional direction, the intended direction of this country, there is no more this country. It's that simple. They are too close to turning us into something else. And if we don't want to be something else, we better show up in mass. If you have not early voted already, I've been urging people to do that. I don't want a hurricane in Ohio. I don't want COVID-25. I don't want anything to keep people from getting to the polls November 5th. If you can vote early, do so. You can do it today. Yes, on the weekend. You can do it tomorrow. Go to the Board of Elections and get it done. The man standing by on the phone right now, our current Lieutenant Governor, I don't believe I've talked to him since he was in the Secretary of State capacity, but always enjoy talking to him, especially around election time. John Husted joining us. John, how are you?
I had a beautiful morning, too. I was in a tree stand at sunrise.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Did you get anything?
I did. I got a 9-point buck this morning.
Okay,
good for you.
Very nice.
Hey,
good for
congrats.
you.
Should I order my steaks now or just trust that you'll deliver them?
I'll stop by with maybe some deer sticks.
Yes.
Sometime.
So, John, do you make yours spicy?
I don't. I don't like them spicy. I like to taste the meat, not the spice.
I like them with spice, and I also like them with little chunks of cheese.
Yeah, well, cheese, that's a great thing. But yeah, it was a great morning out there, and so by 8:20 this morning, I was finished. So
wow.
It was good stuff. Yeah, wonderful.
Good way to start your day. Nice success there. 9 point. That's great.
That is great.
Wow. 9 point, 9 days. Maybe the number 9 is magical for us. I don't know. This is a big deal, John. I hope you don't feel like I was being melodramatic, but I'm very sincere in my belief that we are on the verge of one way or the other in this country, and the 5th of November is a big deal.
Well, it is. A lot of elections in our history there have been very little difference between the directions that the country would go. These are dramatic differences in the direction of the country at the presidential level, at the U.S. Senate level, even on issue 1, which is a dramatic difference, whether we're going to allow outside interests to hijack our Constitution. I am encouraging a no vote there, but it is indeed a critical election.
The two problems with issue 1, I think, and you and I haven't talked about this, but I think we can both agree there's a definite problem in the way the boundaries are drawn. It is a problem, but to alter the state's constitution, to bring in unnamed, unknown people who will be accountable to nobody. We don't know who appoints them, how they're appointed, how long they'll be around, or anything else. And to make it a situation where we can't turn around and say, hey, this is a bad idea and back out of it. This is not the way to fix the problem that we know exists. It's not there's not a problem. This is not the way to fix it as far as I'm concerned.
Well, look, your listeners respect the Constitution. We know that the most important amendments to the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, is one page, right? Like, it's pretty clear. These are just simple principles. This amendment is 17 pages of legal gobbledygook in the Ohio Constitution that would create an unelected, unaccountable, appointed redistricting commission with an unlimited taxpayer-funded budget, so they can pay themselves whatever they want. They can spend as much on legal fees as they want. It would be in our Constitution. So even if you were inclined to consider it, you wouldn't want it to be in the Constitution because that is so difficult to change. It would exclude men and women of the military who had served in the military or in law enforcement from being on this commission. It's really an attempt to hijack our Constitution with $40 million. Get this. The funding on how this got on the ballot and those ads you see, $40 million from out-of-state interests, including one Swiss billionaire who contributed $6 million to the campaign to amend the Ohio Constitution. So you have to ask yourself, why would they do this? Because it's about collecting Democrat seats in the Ohio Congress or Ohio, members of the congressional delegation. They want to draw more and more in by gerrymandering. This would enshrine gerrymandering into the Constitution and just really, literally pick the people who will represent you, because the general election won't matter because they'll be so gerrymandered. There will be no competitive elections in Ohio anymore, and in the legislative and congressional seats.
This, by the way, is Lieutenant Governor John Husted joining us right now. And John, another thing you said, these people are appointed. They're going to be appointed by whom? By whoever is in power. So it's not like you're okay, well, they're not Democrat politicians because they're not politicians. But if the Democrat politicians who are in power at the time appoint them, what do you think you're getting? I mean, I don't know. We're cutting off our nose to spite our face, as they say.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear. If for those of you who may be on the fence, Donald Trump has come out against this. He is he's actually doing an ad in the state of Ohio, urging Ohioans to vote no on issue 1 because he knows what it is, and we know what it is. I mean, everybody in my circle of influence is voting no, and all of everybody from the moderates to political right people that I interact with are voting no on this, and it's literally a hijacking of the Ohio Constitution by out-of-state interests. We need to vote no.
Last I heard, 98.4% of the money behind issue 1's campaign was from out of the United States. Is that what you hear? Same number? Out
of the state. Some of it out of the country, but all of it comes from California, Washington D.C., New York.
That's out of the country.
Those places that have Ohio values, of course. The California, New Yorks of the world. I mean, look, I've gone on enough about it, but it's just a terrible, and this will probably be the closest issue. This issue, the Senate race, are probably going to be the two closest elections in Ohio.
Yeah, the Senate race here in the state of Ohio, you can tell the incumbent is getting nervous. I am getting so many please give me $5 emails. I don't even know how I'm on the email list. But pretty much every day I get 2 or 3, folks, the latest poll shows I'm behind by a point. Can you just send $5? And it's I think it's pretty apparent they know they finally have a race on their hands, and I hope Republicans have not fielded nearly enough candidates around this country this year, but those that we have fielded in the state of Ohio are pretty solid people, and I think the Senate's about to turn for us.
Yeah, Bernie Moreno is a hard worker. I've known Bernie for a while. He's somebody that you can count on to stand up for our conservative values, use common sense, but also, he's a patriot. He loves this country. He knows that this country is the best hope for the world to advance the cause and preserve the cause of freedom. And he'll fight for us. He'll do a great job.
And Supreme Court level, we've got Hawkins, we've got Shanahan, we've got Dieters. Again, all three solid judicial candidates for the Supreme Court. I think we're in good shape there.
Oh, my goodness. Those are also so important on everything from protecting your Second Amendment rights to protecting, your freedoms across the board, school choice, things like that. You want people that are going to not legislate from the bench, as we often see happen. These are good, solid, conservative judicial candidates, and so Megan Shanahan, Dan Hawkins, and Joe Dieters are definitely the choices when you go to the polls. And like you said early on, you can go today, you can go tomorrow, you can go every day through Election Day, but you can't go after Election Day. You got to get done in the next 9 days.
Yes, and don't insinuate that you can on Facebook or you could face prison time. We found that out last time around, that guy that jokingly said Democrats vote on Wednesday, and he was actually charged with that.
Really?
Nobody has a sense of humor about anything.
How do they do that, but yet they've got so many non-citizens on the voting rolls out there in Virginia, and they pulled them off, and now the courts are saying you can't do that, which just blows my mind. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that I actually know a lot about that issue because there was a case, Husted versus the Philip A. Randolph Institute. I went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court when I was Secretary of State, and I won on a 5-4 decision that allows you to remove ineligible voters from the voter rolls. And we removed 155,000 of them this year. Secretary of State Frank LaRose did. And many of those people don't live in Ohio. Some of them are non-citizens. Some of them, have passed away. There are lots of reasons because, let's face it, when you move out of state or you pass away, you're not going to be notifying the Board of Elections that you're gone, right?
Right.
So somebody has to do it. You got to constantly do this. And what happens is the Democrats are always suing in court to prevent you from removing people from the voter rolls. But I won a case at the federal level at the Supreme Court that allows all states to do this now. So
then that would be a precedent.
Of getting the elections officials to do it.
Would that not be a precedent, being it was at the federal level, to have Virginia to be able to use that in court?
Yes, it's the precedent that's been established for the entire nation. It's what I was doing in Ohio, but once you get a Supreme Court ruling, which I got on that one, it's now the precedent for all 50 states that they can do it, all right? Doesn't mean that they will do it, but it means that they can do it.
I had you on the air with me when you filed that. I remember we were talking, I was doing a morning show back then, and we were talking about the fact that the New York Times had done an editorial criticizing you and criticizing the whole early voting process in the state of Ohio, and it was so humorous because New York had no early voting at all. But they were criticizing John Husted, Secretary of State of the state of Ohio, and they have no early voting at all, but they were criticizing how much we had here.
Yeah, they said we were suppressing voters because we were moving it from 35 days to 28 days. We were shortening the window by a week, and they had no early voting, and they were criticizing Ohio for being voter suppressors because we tightened ours down. But now Ohio is the place we've fought the battles. We are a place where it's easy to vote and hard to cheat. We remove people who shouldn't be on the voter rolls from the voter rolls. We have clean voter rolls in this state. But just because, like I said, you can do this. We do it in Ohio, but some states don't do it. And but believe me, I would rather have a system where 50 states are running their own election system than to have one federal system. Because if you want to talk about room for skullduggery, having one federal system is the place. We never want to have that. We want the states to control their election system.
Before we have to say goodbye to you, John Husted, you mentioned a little while ago Second Amendment. You're pretty high up in the food chain here. Are my Second Amendment rights remaining strong and safe here in the state of Ohio?
Ohio has advanced the cause of Second Amendment rights many, many times over the course of the last few years. Concealed carry legislation, the Castle Doctrine, all of those things that give people the right to protect themselves. We are strong in Ohio, and the people who are in charge of Ohio are believers in Second Amendment rights. But we always need to make sure that we're electing at the federal level those people, too, who will not allow the federal government to come in and usurp our laws here in the state of Ohio. And so that's why the elections for President Trump and Bernie Moreno and voting no on issue 1 are so important.
All right, sir. Well, I know you've got a lot to do, probably some processing of that 9-pointer from this morning. But I appreciate.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this thing. I'm going to get this thing field dressed to the processor and back home before I have to do my noon call-in with you guys. So, I got it done.
Don't forget, tell them, make sure they get a couple of pieces of jerky for me and Ed. That's what's important.
Send us
a
pic.
we got to get some deer sticks and some cheese over to you when you're doing your show sometime.
You take
Send
care,
us
sir.
some pictures, Governor. I want to see your buck.
All right, we'll post them soon.
All right, thanks very much. Lieutenant Governor John Husted. Coming up just after the bottom of the hour news, by the way, Bernie Moreno is supposed to join us, Senate candidate who is, I think, going to be successful next Tuesday. Got to take a break here. Stand by. This is On Target from LEPD Firearms and Range, 999 Bethel Road on 610 WTVN.
If you missed...
All right. Are you on the Facebook?
I am.
All right. You are free to converse with your Facebook peoples.
Well, what should I talk about?
Tell them Goober said hey.
Goober? Oh, that would be you?
Sure, I'll be Goober.
Right.
You want to be Gomer?
Okay.
I'll be Gomer, you be Goober.
Golly. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Well, we've got Steve Michaels checking in. Good morning, good afternoon. He says to you, even you, Chuck, he says hello.
Even to me?
Even to you.
Wow, thanks, Steve.
Cindy, one of our longtime listeners. And
Lukens?
Yes.
Yeah,
Facebook.
she never leaves. I think she just stays on there waiting for the next Facebook broadcast.
She put something on here that's very disturbing. She says her dad has a Harris Wall sign in her yard, in his yard, and she has to look at it every day.
Oh, we need to go have a talk with Dad.
Go over and steal it out of the yard and burn it.
You know what? I put my signs up last week, and the number of neighbors who have walked by in silence looking at all the Harris signs, and they are like, thank you for your signs. Where can we get some? It's like somebody finally stepped up and put them out, so now they suddenly want to. It's great.
It's crazy.
30 seconds.
I'm tired of the advertisements. I'm tired of the signs. Is this next?
Yes.
I'm tired of all
in about 15 seconds you'll hear
rhetoric, the BS rhetoric that's out there, especially between Moreno and the curly-haired weirdo.
I'm not joking. I'm getting like 2 or 3 emails a day begging for money for their campaign.
I believe it. Your ABC 6 first warning weather. Today, sun and clouds. Cooler with a high of 62. Tonight, clear skies, low of 36. Sunday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 61. It's currently 56 outside. On your news weather station, 610 WTVN.
News, traffic, weather, and sports. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Up.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. How did Chumbawamba only have one hit, man? How did they only have one?
Because you can only have some groups that are one-hit wonders.
That's fun stuff. I like fun stuff. I like music should be enjoyment. It should take you away from the blah, blah, blah. That's why I hated the 90s so much, because so much of that depressing 90s, everybody wearing plaid and talking about how bad their life was.
Yeah.
And this was just one of those, I get knocked down, I get up again. I like that.
And you were pissing the night away, weren't you?
Whenever I could.
Yeah. You know what that is?
Those were the days.
They were drunk. They got pissed.
Oh, that was the 80s. That wasn't the 90s.
No, this is what he's talking about.
Oh, well, yeah, but that was the 80s for me.
Oh, I got you. The 80s.
All right, we are back. This is On Target from LEPD Firearms and Range, 999 Bethel Road, where you can always, by the way, be a part of the studio audience or catch us on Facebook or YouTube or 610WTVN.com, where you'll go to the iHeart podcast. We are streaming live on a lot of platforms, and then you can go back and listen to stuff that you might have missed on the podcast, which is pretty daggone awesome. Thanks to, who was it, Wilkes last week from U.S. Law Shield for being on. And, again, Bernie Moreno is scheduled to come up just after the 12:30 news. Jackson Egress Windows, one of our sponsors, along with Blackwing Shooting Center, LEPD Training Facility, and friends at U.S. Law Shield. Thanks to all of them for helping make this possible. JC, we got a few minutes here. You got some news before the bottom of the hour?
About 5 hours worth of news.
What is new? With you, that's one story.
10 minutes,
This
Jason.
this is important. I mean, if you want to maintain and own firearms, you just have to understand what is really, really, really happening out there. And it's concerted, and it's other states getting together, and they're just needling and needling and needling away. I had a couple ones I thought were pretty interesting. The mayor of New York City, he loves tech stuff, so he added these artificial intelligence powered weapon scanners for use in New York City subway for a test. So, of course, that cost a lot of money. They just tested it for a month. It was supposed to detect the weapons, looking for firearms, and they stopped and searched about 3,000 people during this month, and they found 0 guns, but they did have 118 false positives for firearms and 12 knives that they said, aha, here they are, stopped them, searched them, 3,000 people, and it didn't come up with any of those guns. However, they did find, everyone got searched. The searches I mentioned, these are ones that some people had pocket knives, some people had tools, a Leatherman or something like that, which were allowed. But all these people got stopped and searched, and they found nothing. But they're going to go ahead and put these in the New York City schools to check. And how bad this is, it's manufactured by Evolve. And Evolve, the company has faced legal issues, including federal probes for its marketing practices. But I love this. Earlier this year, their investors filed a class action lawsuit against the company executives for overstating their capabilities and just saying it does not reliably detect knives or guns. And the Legal Aid Society said this program is an object failure. So, but that's the kind of stuff that they're trying to get into. And speaking of New York, the New York governor, one of the most anti-gun governors out there, really is Governor Kathy Hochul. In the states, so far, 17 different states, the governors of 17 different states have taken a decisive action to protect the constitutional rights of citizens of the state from the flawed and troublesome gun control schemes aimed at tracking spending habits of Americans through their, what we call their shady firearms specific, their merchant code category. So only 3 states have signed this into law. And anytime you buy anything from any store that would sell a firearm, they don't know what it is, but you're going to go on the list. And they're going to have, if you pay for it with a credit card, they're going to know your name, your address. They won't know exactly what you bought. You could buy a gun safe for a couple thousand, but it's going to go in that Joe Blow just spent $2,000 at a gun store, and they are going to keep track of that and keep a list. So far only 3 states have done it. But to show you how anti-gun this is, when they had the formal ceremony with Governor Kathy Hochul, who did she have by her side but Gabby Gifford from the Gabby Gifford Take Your Gun Away Society. Every town for gun safety and Mom Demands actions. We're all standing beside. And if you don't think they're doing this to monitor what you buy, just the fact you went into a gun store or a gun store that sells guns, Cabela's, you buy a fishing rod, boom, you're on their list. So that just shows you what is happening out there.
I'm not laughing at you, JC. I'm just laughing because every time you say on your list, I'm picturing their spokesperson being Jack Lemmon from the Out of Towners. Remember, everybody was on his list. Every time you say that, you sound like Jack Lemmon.
He may, if he was still alive, he may have been in charge of this list because everybody's on it. This is I'll get this one in because Eric and I were talking about this. This could have an effect on the very gun store and show that we are doing. The ATF is stepping up policing of gun dealers, and they've revoked the highest number of licenses in 2 decades this last fiscal year. So they revoked more gun store licenses than any other year in the past 2 decades. And this is a sustained and expanded crackdown on gun dealers when President Joe Biden imposed a zero-tolerance policy 3 years ago. Zero tolerance. What are people saying? You can look at the good side of it. If there are dealers that are really like selling guns illegally or not doing background checks, we don't want those. Nobody wants those folks out there, including us. However, the zero tolerance has done some really horrible things. It has allowed the government and the ATF to now do things like clerical errors can revoke your license. And if they want to get rid of guns and your ability to own guns, well, hey, if there's no dealers, then there's no guns out there, and they're attacking it from every angle. So the spokesperson from the ATF just said, well, the agency's revamped its inspections program and is now using an analytic tool, whatever that is, an analytic tool to help steer the resources towards inspecting gun dealers that pose a higher risk to public safety. What does that mean? One of the things that we're concerned about, and I think Eric's been on the national show talking about this on the Cam Edwards broadcast, and he's been on Channel 6 going, look, our gun store got nailed and listed. I mean, we didn't do anything wrong, but we got listed and we have sold more than 25 guns in a year that have been used in a crime. We made this list that is published out there, and the Dispatch is happy to put it out there. Well, it turns out that if we sell a gun to someone and 3 years later their car gets stolen and it has a gun in it, our store gets dinged for being participating, the gun was used in a criminal activity. Well, someone stole the car, had the gun in it. We had the one where the gentleman went to the police station ahead of time, asked, hey, can I drop my guns up here? I'm moving. I don't have a safe place to store it. Once I get moved in my apartment, get my gun safe moved in, I'll come back and get it. Sure, no problem. Those 3 guns were listed as criminal activity because a police department logged them in when he handed them over. That put us on a list. Well, if they're looking at dealers who pose a higher risk to public safety, and you're on a list that says you are selling firearms to criminals, wouldn't that necessarily say, hey, you're a higher risk if you're doing that?
Yeah, there's a lot of appealing that's going to come from all this. We got to do the break here, get the news in, because Bernie Moreno is scheduled. I don't want to be too late for him when he gets back on. Bottom of the hour, quick update here, and then back with Bernie Moreno. This is On Target from LAPD Firearms and Range on 610 WTVN.
Joe Valentine here for TNT.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God, I did it twice already. Can you hear me now?
You're on the wrong one. It's the green one. The next one down. There.
Hello? Can you hear us now? All right. Well, I don't know. Well, that's one he told me to turn last time. Apparently it was
just
the wrong
don't want to
one.
go too high, because if the sound bounces back, then you start getting feedback through the microphone.
Sure. Don't want to bounce back. Bounce off, maybe.
You don't want everything you say to go.
Oh, is that what that's from?
Yes.
Is that called reverb?
That's feedback.
Feedback. What's reverb?
Reverb is an effect put on something to make it sound echoey or hollow.
Kind of like us.
Kind of, yeah. I'm echoey, you're hollow. Great songwriting duo of the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of people from the 60s, you see what's his face from the Grateful Dead is
The bass
Gratefully
player?
Dead.
Yes, I did see that. That does happen. People get old and die.
I've heard that.
It's amazing.
I'm not familiar with the whole getting old process, but I've heard it happens.
Sam's checking in. Sam, good to see you on here. Boomer McBoom. Who cares? I'm assuming he's talking about the New York law.
There's McBroom. I wanted to ask him. I saw his picture on my Facebook page the other day. I had a junior high school band teacher named McBroom.
Really?
Yeah, I was just wondering if it's family or not.
Well, I think he's McBoom.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a screen name because he doesn't want to tell everybody his real name. He's just Mr. McBoom.
Gotcha.
I think he likes making boom noises. We'll just go with
Ella
that.
do we have the guest on the phone there?
Yep.
Okay.
How much time we have, Ella? Okay.
She's not going to talk to you.
She never talks.
She doesn't like you.
She hates me.
She told me that.
I know.
I can't really hear you guys.
Why can't you hear us?
'Cause
Turn us
you're
up.
down low over there, or you're far away from your mic. I don't know.
Mine's right up at my mouth. Can you hear me now?
Same here.
I can hear you now.
How much time we have left?
1 minute.
Oh, we got plenty of time for a story. Tell us a story, Chuck.
Once upon a time, there was this young boy named Ferdinand Marcoses. Not Marco, but Marcoses. Ran a little town down south of Columbus where his wife collected shoes. And
is that where all the women, the kids lived in the shoe?
She might have. Ferdinand Marcos was not a good man.
No.
He was an ugly man. Feet
With a
stinky.
name like that, I can understand why he wouldn't be a good man. Sounds like a disease.
How did Ferdinand Marcos pop into my head? That goes back years. Maybe it's because of that Ronald Reagan commercial I heard in the last break.
I didn't hear Ronald Reagan.
It was the AI thing where they had AI-generated politicians' voices. See, I did the real one. It's Bill Clinton. Vote for any damn body but her. Instead of having a computer do it. Don't vote for him. Wouldn't be prudent.
Let's get down to brass tacks. The man's an idiot.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is OnTarget.
We are back on target from LEPD Firearms and Range, 999 Bethel Road. We're fired up, we're happy, we're excited, we are optimistic, I believe, as a whole for November 5th. Just when the predicted red wave that has been delayed for 2 election cycles hopefully will be a red tsunami.
Yes.
Not a tsunami. But a tsunami. One fewer syllables in the word. Joining us right now, our guest for this half hour is the man who has generated more Democratic fundraising emails to my email box than anybody has in a very long time. He is running to be your senator from the state of Ohio, serving us in Washington, D.C. His name is Bernie Moreno. Good morning or good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. Have you also seen TV commercials? I heard rumors that there's some commercials out there, too.
There's one or two. I like I don't know. What's the word I want to... The genuineness of so many of the people in your competing commercials out there. They seriously, that's some of the most scripted, unbelievable presentations I've ever seen in political commercials. They're sad. They really are.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. Well, the only thing he has to do is attack my reputation, which, of course, he doesn't use actual employees or customers because there's nothing to attack there. My company is rated best places to work in Northeast Ohio and the Cincinnati area and Miami and in Boston. Because he can't stand on his record. His record's pretty bad. I mean, when it comes to the issues that you and I care a lot about, Second Amendment, this guy's a gun confiscator. He's ardently against the Second Amendment. He talks about common sense gun laws that should make everybody worried. He's got clowns like Tim Waltz that support him. That, by the way, should have come down to LAPD and done a little gun training because that guy should not even hold a gun. He's obviously never touched one before in his life.
Haven't you heard Tim Waltz is a better shot than you and me and everybody in this building combined? That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Well, based on his speeches, he takes better shots in terms of booze. But I don't know about guns. And also, Kamala Harris owns a Glock. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, she meant to say clock with a C. She has a clock in her house, and she's not afraid to throw it at you if you try to break in.
That's exactly right. And this is a woman who, in 2019, Sherrod Brown wanted to be her running mate when she was running on a platform of banning fracking, banning red meat, saying that we're going to go into your homes and take your guns. She said those things, and Sherrod Brown, who now pretends to be a moderate and a Trump-loving Republican, he wanted to be her vice presidential nominee.
I don't think that had to do with politics. He was just looking for somebody to help him with the hair.
There's no help there.
That was the big thing. I'm not joking about my email inbox, by the way, which is how I know that you are successful in your campaign efforts. I get 2 to 3 daily emails from him or his campaign people begging for money. And, friend, we're behind. The latest poll shows me 1 to 3 points behind. Can you just send me $5? I get those emails every single day. I'm a registered Republican. I don't even know why I get them. But every day I'm getting them. So obviously... you have them shaking in their political boots right now. Good for you.
Yeah, we're up anywhere between 1 to 3 points. Early voting is looking good. More Republicans have voted early so far than Democrats have. In fact, you can vote today until 4 o'clock. So if you're in Franklin County, Delaware County, Union County, Fairfield County, wherever you are, go vote today. Just get out of the way. It saves us a fortune. By the way, once you vote, we take you off the list. No more phone calls, no more emails, no more door knocking, no more direct mail. That alone should motivate everybody listening to go vote right now.
Well, let's stop the TV commercials.
No.
Jeez.
No. Nothing will stop the TV commercials until November 5th. I'll tell you a quick funny story. I was in your guys' neck of the woods, not too far from you. There was a school called Matter Academy. It just opened up. It's a great new charter school. I went into a classroom of kindergartners and first graders, and this little first grade kid raises his hand and he goes, "You're Bernie Moreno," and which blew me away. I'm like, how the heck does a first grader know who I am? And he says, "Oh, you're running against Sherrod Brown." And he looked at me with a cute little eyes and goes, "And he's just too liberal for Ohio."
Well, that's great.
Oh, that is beautiful. I saw a video somebody shared on Facebook the other day. Their little girls look to be maybe 5 or 6 years old, and they're walking down the street. And she goes, "Mama, is that a Harris sign in her yard?" And Mom said, "Yes, it's a Harris sign." And the little girl turns around and yells at the house, goes, "What is wrong with you?" I think America's catching on. I really do, and I think we're coming back to some common sense. We all know what the conservative values are, the conservative beliefs, the conservative wants and needs for this country. Tell me about the just the philosophical difference. You versus Sherrod Brown as the person serving in Washington, D.C. Why should I like you?
For him, government is God. Government's in charge. Government tells us what to do, how to do it, when to do it. They take our money and use it for whatever the heck they want. There's no merit. There's no hard work. For me, God is supreme. He gives us our rights. Government's there to provide the freedom for America. It's supposed to be as small as possible, do the exact things listed in the Constitution, nothing else. Well, we can dream whatever dream we want. We can live whatever life we want to live, free of government dictates, to chart our own path. And that's fundamentally what's different between today's Republicans and today's Democrats. It didn't used to be that Democrats felt this way, by the way. Democrats used to be for peace around the world. Now they're warmongers. They used to believe in limited government and free speech and freedom, and now they don't. They want to suppress speech. They want to take away our rights. They don't just hate the Second Amendment, by the way. They hate all of them. And this is what's different about this election than any other, and it's why it's important that every single human being make their voice be heard and go vote. And if you can't count on doing it on November 5th, just go vote early. Go vote today. Go vote Monday. Bring other people with you to the polling booth. The world needs to see that America stands for freedom and liberty.
You get into the United States Senate, and I don't see how this happens, but many times elections have happened, and the results are things that I never saw coming, including a second Obama term. You get into the Senate, and somehow, some way, sunspots, whatever, we have a President Harris. She has said very clearly, own your guns, but I got the right to bring the government into your house and inspect your guns and make sure you keep them the way you want. The limitations that this woman as President of the United States would want to impose upon our Second Amendment rights, and as you said, all of our rights, if we're not speaking the way they want us to speak or whatever, the rights are reserved for the elite. What's the game plan? Can you do anything as a freshman member of the U.S. Senate with just a monstrous president like that, should that happen?
Yeah, well, first of all, it can't happen. I don't think it will happen, but going down the hypothetical path, heaven forbid if it did, the Senate has enormous power because we get to confirm her cabinet. We're not going to confirm lunatics like Stephen Dettelbach, people like that have gotten into Joe Biden's cabinet. By the way, she'd make it even worse. Judges that wouldn't enforce the law as written but would actually write new laws. Ambassadors, trade agreements, budgets. We get to have the power of the purse, so we get to decide what gets funded in the government, what does not. It would be absolutely 4 years of total battle against an administration that wants to take this country off the edge. But here's what won't happen. D.C. won't be a state because she wants it to be, and she needs the Senate to do that. Puerto Rico, the same thing. She wants to pack the Supreme Court. That idea goes away with the Republican Senate. Those are the things that she wants to do that the Senate will prohibit her from doing. That's why it's extraordinarily important that we win the Senate. And the Senate majority comes down to my race. It's very simple. If I win, I get to fire Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's out as majority leader.
Amen.
Ohio gets to determine control of the Senate. We don't get the presidential. The presidential is going to be mostly Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But we get to decide the makeup of the Senate. That's the responsibility that everybody listening to this in Ohio has.
I'm sitting here basking in the glow of the Chuck Schumer no longer in his capacity.
Oh my God, is that not great?
Yeah. Well, we lost Pelosi, but I swear if you look at Schumer, he looks as if perhaps they've morphed into one. Lately, he's looking like he's merged into her lately. Assault weapons. I got to talk. San Francisco, especially. Eric had left some notes about this. First of all, in your mind, what is an assault weapon? Can you define an assault weapon?
Nobody can define an assault weapon. By the way, these are the same people that think AR stands for assault rifle, by the way. That's how much they know about guns. Look, at the end of the day, guns don't commit crimes. Criminals do. Criminals don't follow laws. By definition, that's what makes them a criminal. So the only thing you're doing with these more and more gun laws is you're making it harder and harder for law-abiding citizens to protect themselves. Look, I'm sitting in a car in Fremont, Ohio. I got a gun to my left. I got a gun to my right. I got a gun in the back seat of this car because all it takes is one lunatic. I have a gun sitting by my bed where I sleep in Columbus at my son's house. I have an AR in my house in Westlake because I'm going to protect myself. I can't rely on the police to be there because it's going to be too late.
Dude, we can be friends. I like you already.
Well, by the way, my wife, the reason I leave the AR is because that's where my wife sleeps, and every single she has a gun has one more chance of survival. So I'm going to make certain that I'm going to do everything I can to protect myself. But the reality is, on the other side, they want to confiscate weapons from law-abiding citizens and then not enforce laws against criminals. Like right now, if you talk to any Columbus Police Department member or a Cleveland or Cincinnati police officer, they'll tell you the same thing. These judges, these prosecutors don't punish criminals, and yet they want more gun laws.
Well, you got.
I think we lost him.
There, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. There's no doubt that to go on what you're saying there. They don't follow the law, and the judicial system is, especially in Franklin County, is backwards. The judges let, and I can speak firsthand to this. There's some judges out there that are letting criminals go on warrants in the department that I work with up north that have no bond warrants, and the judges are letting them bond out in Franklin County on our warrants, which I don't know how they're getting away with it, but they're doing it. And it's wrong. It's just totally wrong. If they can get away with it from a judge here in Franklin County and not pay the price in the county where they did the crime, all they're doing is helping them keep committing crimes.
Senate candidate Bernie Moreno.
What's the point? What's the point of having more laws if you're not enforcing the current laws?
Exactly.
And number two, here's what's interesting. When I did a ride along with the police department, we went through the Linden neighborhood, and it was interesting because the criminals know the exact line between Franklin and Delaware County. They know it to the millimeter.
Oh yes,
where
sir.
That line
That's
is.
true. That's true.
I appreciate your time today. I know you've got a lot of stuff, especially this final weekend. With good weather, I think, before Election Day, you demonstrated today. I've been trying to get you on my weekday show, but I'm glad I got a chance to talk to you here. You got common sense, and above all else, that's what I'm looking for as a voter. So thank you for that, and I'm glad I have your sign in my yard, and I wish you all the best.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything that you guys do. Really appreciate it.
You're
that
welcome.
is candidate for U.S. Senate, Bernie Moreno, and I do believe he will be victorious. I think
we'll see him at the winning circle.
Not only is he a strong candidate with good head on his shoulders, but I think people are just tired of the BS that we. I mean, how long are you going to pee on me and tell me it's raining? And that's what the voters have been subjected to for years now, and I think they've kind of got to the point where okay, enough. And I hope I'm right about that.
You and me both.
I know you are. We got to take a final break here. JC, I think, has a couple of more stories we're going to get to, and we might even work in a little bit about a gun of the week. Stand by. This is On Target from LEPD Firearms and Range on 610 WTVN.
Anthony.
Okay. My brother's checking in. It says, hello, Chuck.
Hello.
Gary, I'm not going to say, I'm going to try and pronounce his name. Gary Robathan. He can't find any Bernie Moreno signs on it.
Where are you, Gary? We got some in the walkway, entryway, right here at LEPD. Yep, that's where I got mine.
Come on in here, Gary. We'll give you as many as you want.
I will tell you, the Franklin County Republican Party headquarters has signs, but it's Tuesday and Thursday between noon and 4 that you can pick them up, which is a little difficult for Republicans that are out there stimulating the economy during the day.
Hey, your ABC 6 first warning weather. Today, sun and clouds, cooler with a high of 62. Tonight, clear skies, cold with a low of 36. Sunday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 61. It's currently 56 on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Ohio's capital city depends on News Radio 610 WTVN.
A lot of people out there saying that it may be time to turn on the furnace tonight.
I had mine on last night.
Oh, that's an assault weapon song right there. Bryan Adams, cuts like a knife.
Like a knife.
That's an assault knife.
Yes, sir.
It's an assault knife. We got to ban those, doggone it. Just a few minutes left in this edition of On Target. I've got JC still standing by on the phone here. JC, you got a couple of news stories you wanted to hit us with before we say ta-ta for the day?
Yeah, but before that, I do want to. I wanted to bring this up with Bernie. He did on his own. Didn't have cameras with him. Stopped into the store and stayed for a couple of hours shooting with Eric, and the guy can shoot. Eric put him through the Ohio Peace Officers Training Academy firing sequence, and he passed with just flying colors on the first round.
Well,
Eric
good.
Was going, wow, this guy can really shoot right off the bat. So
he said he had a gun to the left of him and a gun to his right and a gun behind him and guns at home, so I'm glad he can use them.
Yes, sir.
But he knows how to use them, so that is the important thing. So
Unlike
that
Walls.
was just really excellent. Hey, and I have to get back. Yeah, like Walls who can't even load. Yeah, this is my favorite gun. How do you load this thing? That's crazy. There's another senator who also wounded a person because he was firing it too close to a steel plate, and a piece of the shell, actually the copper went back through, and it was a reporter and wounded him in the arm. That happened in Kansas this week, but he was a Democrat shooting. So anyway, there you go. Hey, back to this. The reason this is so important about the new zero tolerance, and I was really shocked at this when I told Eric. He was shocked too. I told you that they're doing a lot more of these investigations. Like, matter of fact, they've done 3 times as many this last year than they did the year before. So they're putting more effort into this. But what they're looking for now is anything. According to what they're supposed to be looking for, there's a zero-tolerance policy, as they say, for gun retailers who willfully violate any of the most serious firearms laws. But one of them that they're focusing on is a failure to keep accurate sales records. And that's not, oh, yeah, I sold a gun, I don't have any note about this here. What they're doing is they're looking for even clerical errors. For example, a gun store that's been in operation for a long time. It was in Colorado. They did a background check. They got their license revoked for not doing a background check. Well, they did the background check. It passed. NICS passed. They sold the gun. The employee who wrote down the code number on a piece of paper transposed like the last 2 digits. Instead of 01, it was 10. And so they therefore said, well, that's incorrect, zero tolerance, and they pulled it. They're no longer allowed to sell guns. Bing, just like that. You can appeal it, but it takes a long time to go through that process. Another one that they shut down, it was these guys had opened a gun store, and they were doing well. The inspectors came in, and they submitted all the records. They got their gun store shut down saying, you failed to complete this form, and it's not in here, and we are revoking your license. Then they returned the package to them. The form was in there. It was stamped. They just forgot to give credit for that. So they lost their business, and nothing was wrong. As a matter of fact, as they reviewed 91 of these, they found it in 20% of the cases, 20%, what the inspectors advised, like, oh, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. In the old days, it was a very friendly situation. In gun stores like us, we followed what their recommendations were, but they just gave, hey, here's a warning, you need to straighten up. But when they turned them into the upper level folks, the supervisors up above that weren't even at the store automatically revoked their licenses. So this is a pattern. Now, why do I even say anything about this? Well, I have a list of the 25 top inspections, the cities with the top inspections. I mean, these include, everyone, like some of the cities. We're talking Los Angeles, New York, New Orleans, San Francisco, the big cities. The number 2 on the number of inspections that they conducted last year was Columbus, Ohio.
Uh-oh.
I was shocked that Dallas was number 1. But we're talking, Phoenix, Houston, San Francisco, New Orleans, New York, Washington, Baltimore, all these huge cities. But they did. We were second on the list in the number of inspections they did.
John, who is the appeal, or what is the appeal body? Well, I mean,
the appeal
ATF
body
does
is
this.
The ATF. ATF, they have, the ATF has an administrative review where you can appeal to them, and if you don't like that, you can take it to court. But the administrative appeal, these are the the people. Matter of fact, these other two just went out of business. By the time it got to the point where, hey, you're not allowed to sell anymore. All your stock, all your orders, everything. Sorry, you're going to have to return all this stuff. You're not allowed to sell them. And the appeal process, it doesn't say how long it takes, but in these two cases, they said, wait a minute, well, sorry, your records aren't correct. Well, my employee transposed a long number at the last two digits, and now you're taking away a gun source.
That's going to have to change. You can't go to somebody to hit you with a stick and then ask them if they were justified in hitting you with a stick. Of course they were.
Exactly. So it's just really, really, really bad what's going on, and it is a concerted effort. I mean, these are the Democrats trying to take away. They want to disarm America. There is just no doubt about it, and they're wheedling in. Let me give you this one. It was a second part of a story involving the same guy, Joshua Perry, who works for Connecticut Attorney General's office, is arguing that, get this, your hunting rifles are not constitutionally protected by the Second Amendment. What does that mean? He says that hunting rifles are legal in Connecticut, but are not protected by the Constitution, because he argues the Constitution only guarantees the citizens the right to guns commonly used in self-defense, and that semi-automatic hunting rifles don't fall into that category. So if they're not constitutionally protected, we can ban those. I mean, this is out there. This is like real. So Connecticut has effectively banned the possession and ownership of any AR-15. So now there's a Second Circuit court case. Anyway, bottom line is I'll get to this next week because it's a big deal. So what they're thinking about doing.
All right, sir. Connecticut is so beautiful.
Vote.
Yes, Connecticut is so beautiful and so stupid all at the same time, which is sad.
See the size of that state? Who cares?
All right, November 5th. It is just around the corner. Early voting in Franklin County available to you today and tomorrow at the Franklin County Board of Elections, 1700 Morris Road. Get out there. Educate yourself. Vote. Do not let your country get taken away from you. And most of all, let's be careful out there.